Welcome to the Millionaire podcast. My name's Jim Neville, and we're going to be discussing what's happening this week. A few subjects to discuss with the group. Hopefully you've been finding the podcast interesting, following the growth of PCS. Today's topic we was going to have a discuss with you is the split. So one, the split with domestic and commercial, and then two, the split between regular, so we do 4 or 8 weekly work and ad hoc work like roofs, big jobs, gutters, pressure washing fascias and soffits and things like that. So our current split, so currently we have 1,500 customers. It keeps growing all the time. We have 1,500 on the books customers on Cleaner Planner, of which Kaz is putting on the Cleaner Planner app as we speak, nearly done. So 75% domestic, 4 or 8 weekly, and 25 commercial jobs. So for example, today we had Brandon and Dave go out and they did a large 5-6 story building in town that they had to do early, like 6:30, 7 o'clock, just before the traffic gets busy, because it was close to a road, high traffic footfall area. And then Brandon had 3 outside car showrooms to clean, so that keeps him busy today. But the other 3 workers today are all on domestic, no commercial jobs, just domestic customers. But then you have customers that we do regularly that are houses that we bill invoice for the job, of which today there's 6 of those jobs. So I personally count them as not commercial, because it's still a house at the end of the day. They just choose to pay for it through their business, or they've got their business office on site or next to it that we might clean as well. Lots of customers have pods in the back garden, or office in the back garden, something like that, and they are all premises out of a garage that they run a business from. But if it is a commercial unit, for example a car showroom, we do schools, hotels, big office blocks of flats. We've got a block of little commercial units all in one block. That's what we did today. That was the 5-6 story building today. And the split, as I said, 75% domestic, 25% commercial split, which means we've got 350 or so, 350 regular commercial customers, which is good. Out of 1,500, we think it's a good split. If you had all commercial customers, I think the cash flow is harder. We had a customer ask us to quote in London, but their payment terms were 90 days, and we're a small company. I can't front, I think the job was $9,000. I can't front $9,000, be waiting for that money to come in when the lads could be doing work in Peterborough or closer, that the money flows in straight away. So you're 3 months behind on if that goes towards wages and stuff. I don't know how the smaller companies cope with that. It's alright if you're Abacus, Red Clean, Prior size, you've got a lot more customer database to fall back on and not rely solely on everything that comes in almost week by week. It does feel a little bit hand to mouth living, but I think this is during that growth phase of which we're slowing down a little bit. We're just going to consolidate just a tad to get our heads together and make sure that we're not running around like headless chickens, being busy fools. We're actually growing in the areas. So instead of, we used to get a job in, we'd do it within 2 days, most likely within the next day as soon as the job came in, to guarantee that we get the job. Now when Tom gets us a job, or Jack gets us a job, or it comes in through Facebook or social media or leaflets, we try and put it into the area unless it's urgent, and then we just charge a little bit more. We say to you, look, we're in your area, say next Friday or next Monday, and it's Tuesday, I'm filming this today, and I don't want to wait that long. Okay, well, we can come this week, but it's just a little bit more expensive, like 10-15% more expensive, just to take a worker out of what they're doing and put that one job either at the start of the day or the end of the day, so it doesn't disrupt the flow too much. Then I wanted to talk about the split between regular work and ad hoc work. So it's September, we're filming this. We're going into the busy gutter season, so we tend not to have so much roof cleaning, pressure washing, things like that in the summer, spring and summer. But you get lots and lots of gutters. As soon as it starts raining more, as soon as the leaves start coming down, it gets colder, the gutters will start flying in. We will actively market to all of our 1,500 customers every single month, reminding them that we want you to have your gutters done regularly. Once a year, we say to every customer, you should be having your gutters at least checked, looked at, get the inspection camera out, see what's in there, check the downpipe. Minimum charge on guttering, I think now, is £90. Anywhere up to, I think we've got one coming up that's 350. In fact, they did it yesterday, £350 for a gutter clear, which was difficult to get to and had to use specialist equipment and stuff like that. But we can do it. We're also doing a gutter job coming up for one of the B&I friends. That's a 4-story Georgian house gutters, and the gutters are, you would expect them to be at the top of the 4-story gutter line, but they're not. They're even higher. And then there's a wall, you go over the wall and then down the other side to the gutter, that is like a valley the other side of the wall, which is quite hard to get to. So without getting up there, because you'd either have to have a cherry picker, which is going to cost them much more money to hire a cherry picker, hire a driver for the day, is to get the inspection camera up there, make sure that they're full and need doing anyway first, but also to go up with the gutter vac and have a massive extension that goes over the wall, comes down, so the U-bend, after the U-bend, there's going to be quite a big drop still of a pipe gutter attachment to reach what's behind that wall in that gutter 4 stories up. So the split we have at the moment between regular work, as in 4 or 8 weekly customers, and the ad hoc work all year round, is the opposite to domestic and commercial. So 75%, no, it's the same, 75% regular and 25% ad hoc. So if you're running a £40,000 month, 30,000 is regular work, 10,000 is ad hoc, or you can scale down or scale that up to whatever you're taking. But that's a good split, because at the start of the week, usually at the start of the week on a Sunday, I'm looking at what we've got for the following week, and you'll get to 75% because the ad hoc's not come in yet, or we haven't booked it for that particular week. And then as the week goes on, we're talking to customers, jobs coming in, ad hoc jobs that we've from previous weeks that we put onto this week. Like we've got a hotel coming up next week that we're going to clean out near King's Lynn, and that's going to take 2 of the lads one day, and then we're going back 2 weeks later to do a roof clean there as well. So that's all ad hoc. But if you've got your 75%, and your 75% pays the nuts and bolts of the business, pays your wage bill, the unit bill, the vans, the water, electric, utilities, all that type of stuff is all covered. Office manager here, admin staff is all covered in that 75%. Then your profit is in that ad hoc stuff. So that's where we tend to make our money. So the regular customers pays for the everyday nuts and bolts of the business, and the ad hoc and the extras and the add-ons and gutters and things like that tends to be profit. So is a large ad hoc job worth doing? I thought I've got 4 examples of ad hoc jobs we've done over the years, and whether you could, if we put it into our round at the moment at those prices, whether it's worth us adding them in and doing them, getting the extra staff, or taking our staff away from current jobs, current round, the 75% regular round every week, to go and do these big ad hoc jobs. So we did London Luton Airport Hotel, which was £4,000, including that, 7 or 8 story building, and a little bit of the inside windows on the top floor. It took 3 days to do, 3 men, 3 days. So you're taking 9 working days to do a £4,000 plus that job. Whereas if they were in Peterborough, doing where our base is, doing normal work, could they have done that? It's almost the same figure. So we're actually not achieving. It's nice to have a different job. Let's go and do a nice big 7-8 story hotel. It looks good for social media and all stuff like that. But actually, unless you've got this staff, you're taking away work from your regular customers to go and do this stuff. So you're either putting your work back, or you've got to get extra staff in to do the ad hoc work, or the work our regular round. Now the other jobs similar, we had Holiday Inn at Heathrow. See, that was £8,500 including that. Now that took me and Graham and Dave did that, and we did that in pretty much 2 days and about a couple of hours of the third day. So if you did 2 days of 3 men, that's much better than having 3 men for 2 days in Peterborough. The money is much better, almost double. So if you are putting the work back, people with work back, to allow to do that job, that's fine, because it's a higher ticket item. We did one in Somerset a couple of weeks back. Me and Brandon went and did a Somerset cladding job on Cherry Picker. By the time you've booked your hotel, you've done your travel, you've paid the boys food and drink, all the extras that go along with it, I would say it'll be easier to stay in Peterborough. And it's a nice hit. People will argue with me and say it's a nice hit to have like £6,000, £7,000 come into the account at once. Yes, it is lovely, but what are you sacrificing for that growth? And is it growth? Doing an extra £6,000 that week, how much did we not do of the Peterborough or Stamford round to accommodate that? And I would say quite a bit of it, when you take the travel and expenses out, profit on that job was 20%. So it's the same as working in Peterborough on normal jobs. Now we've got one coming up next month, which is a builder's clean of a block of flats in Kent. Now I can take just me and Dave, who does subcontract work for us, and maybe Brandon, and go and do that in a week, and leave 3 workers here working full time in covering the Peterborough round. Now that's all Peterborough round could be covered in in 3 workers working full-time in the week, and then the other 3 of us go down to Kent and do this builder's clean, which is going to take 5 days, but it's 18,000 plus VAT. So you're looking at over 20 grand's worth of job you're adding to your round instead of substituting it. And I know we've got travel, we've got to hire a cherry picker when we're down there and whatever, but the profit on 20 grand compared to like the 4 grand Luton job means that we can allow to take maybe a couple of days out of the week to cover that job. But in Peterborough, there's still 3 vans going out doing £400 a day in Peterborough for a week. So you can do the maths on that. So it's roughly about 6 grand a week being done in Peterborough every single week, whilst that 18,000 plus VAT is going on in the same week. So that week will be a great week, great profit week that it's in. So in my opinion, if you're travelling far and staying overnight, paying for workers to be away from home, I don't think the job is worth doing unless it's double to triple what you would normally take in a week. Like we have 4 or 5 lads in Peterborough every week working. If it's got to be double or triple that amount to be worth going to travel for, or if there is still a majority of people working in Peterborough and you can take 1 or 2 lads away to do that job, so that as a total in the week all the work in Peterborough is still getting done and all the work at the ad hoc job is getting done. So that was just something we thought we'd have a chat about. I'm sure people will run it differently. I know like Lee Pride doesn't do anything but houses, so we do house windows and gutters, but there's no pressure washing, there's no commercial work, there's no big cladding jobs, there's no cherry picker jobs. It's all done 1 man in a van covering that work, and I understand that works, and he's got the majority in that area, so it works. I'd hate to be the other window cleaners in Surrey when he's got such a monopoly. Just before we wrap up this podcast, I wanted to talk quickly about a problem we've got in Cleaner Planner. So Kaz is working on getting the work into Cleaner Planner, all of my work. So when I inputted it, because we did it in a hurry, I inputted all of the work. I just put the customer's address into Cleaner Planner, the amount, what round it's in, and the frequency. So there's no customer name, there's no postcode, there's no go cardless details, there's no telephone number, there's no the rest of the address on there. So there's lots of information to put in. So Caroline over the last week has probably done half and then half this week. So that by the end of this week there should be around 1,500 customers with all the details on. So everything, name, address, telephone number, email address, go cardless details, or any other details we need about them, like gate codes and things like that, that all need to be on there for the boys when they go out. Now we've come across where it's been edited and we've put the name of a person. So say you've got Joe Bloggs at 1 Birch Street. When we've gone down that round in Stamford, of all the, say there was 37 jobs on that round, Joe Bloggs is the name that's come up for all of those 37 jobs. And then if you go back into edit it, say we were doing number 2 Birch Street and we change the name from Joe Bloggs to something else, it then changes the other 37 in that list, in that round, to the name Joe Bloggs. And that's happened about 6 or 7 times with different names. So we've Kaz has phoned up Cleaner Planner or talked to them on a web chat, and they're saying it's a problem our side. But if anybody could give us a hand